Black, American, poor middle class, female, heterosexual, millennial, born in America, speaks English, able-bodied, spiritual but not affiliated. All of these descriptors embody who I am. Erica Sade Jones. Based on the matrix of oppression model, one can see that I belong to several marginalized groups which all meet at the intersection of who I have become. I was born in Brooklyn, New York in the 80s, surrounded by tons of cousins, aunts, uncles, and extended family. My mother and my father were both correction officers for the city of New York on Rikers Island. My mother continued to raise my brother and I after my parents divorced when I was at the age of 10. In spite of their divorce, I continued to have a very meaningful and close relationship with my father. Although I didn't have the privilege of getting to know my maternal grandparents, I'm very fond of the memories I've shared with my paternal grandparents. They were part of the 6 million African Americans who migrated out of the South up to the North due to racial tensions. Throughout my childhood, the importance of education was always at the forefront. It was ingrained in me that if I were to afford a life better than that of my previous generations, it would only be through the doors of education. So during my tenure at Hillcrest High, I maintained grades at the top of my class, participated in extracurricular activities, and met my high school sweetheart, Mr. Nicholas Jones. After my high school graduation, I attended Temple University through the use of grants and a ton of student loans. Temple had a buzzing campus in the heart of Philadelphia. Here is where I finally began to learn the truth about my history. As you can imagine, receiving my degree as a first-generation college student meant that much more to me. I now knew that my history didn't start with slavery. I knew more about the shoulders on which I stood. In the words of Malcolm X, I felt lied to, hoodwinked, and bamboozled by our nation's educational institutions. I now look at life through a critically different lens, and so I put my boots on the ground, attended marches in advocacy against injustice. I became a teacher and later a school administrator to address some of what I later recognized to be systemic issues I experienced in my youth. My mission was to educate and empower youth. This education started in teaching them about their history and actively involving them in matters which affected them the most within their community and their environment. Until we get our share. Say it loud. In the midst of it all, at the age of 26, which to this day is the identity I think least about, I married that high school sweetheart of mine. And at 27, I became a mother after giving birth to our daughter, Milana. As I became his wife, I never felt oppressed as a woman because we fundamentally shared the same access to resources and opportunities. In fact, I felt an increase of the dangers and pressures society placed on the men in my life. And so, as we grew our family, we continued to learn more and more about our history, about our culture, about who we are in this society, and make sure that our daughter and our family was along for the ride. I went to her schools, we went to Disney World, and anywhere we could, we searched for and shared our culture. Learning about my true history had a tremendous impact on my religious views. I have a hard time knowing that our ancestors were whipped and beaten into submission in the name of Jesus and Christianity. So now I seek to learn more about what my ancestors believed prior to slavery and colonialism. With that said, I intend to serve as a social work practitioner with a high level of cultural competence and humility. I think about this while I'm learning more about identities associated with ableism. For me, this means to be open, be patient, and always continue to seek knowledge with a high level of respect for all whom I serve.